scholars, students, and gurus, valuable gurus, నిత్య విద్యార్థులైనటువంటి అద్భుతమైనటువంటి ప్రజ్ఞా పాఠమాలైనటువంటి గురుతుల్యులు, నిత్య విద్యార్థులు ఈరోజు మన ముందు కూర్చొని ఈ డయాస్ మీదకి వచ్చిన తర్వాత వాళ్ళ యొక్క గురుస్వరూపాన్ని మాత్రమే ప్రకటిస్తూ ఎప్పుడు కూడా విద్యార్థులతోటి నిత్యము నేర్చుకునేటువంటి విద్యాస్వరూపంగా వెలుగుతున్నటువంటి మహానుభావులు ఈరోజు మనకు ఇక్కడ రావడం జరిగింది. బిఫోర్ ఇన్వైటింగ్ ద చైర్పర్సన్ అండ్ కో-చైర్ అండ్ రిసోర్స్ పర్సన్ ఆన్ టు ద డయాస్, ఇక్కడ నేను నిత్య విద్యార్థులైనటువంటి ఉపాధ్యాయులు ఆర్ గురువులు అని చెప్పేటువంటి ఒక క్రమాన్ని, ద కాంటెక్స్ట్ ఈజ్ ఇట్స్ ఎన్ ఏన్షియంట్ కాంటెక్స్ట్. విద్యార్థి పంచలక్షణ, విద్యార్థి పంచలక్షణ ఏమిటా విద్యార్థి యొక్క పంచలక్షణాలను చెప్పి నేను అవి ఇన్వైట్. కాకనిద్ర, కాకచేష్ట, బకధ్యానం, శ్వాన నిద్ర తథైవచ, అల్పాహారి గ్రహత్యాగి విద్యార్థి పంచలక్షణ. It's a small disturbance, so we are going to empower once again with power. We will definitely be empowered by, enlightened by our gurus. విద్యార్థి యొక్క పంచలక్షణాలనే అద్భుతమైనటువంటి ఒక సాంస్క్రిట్ టెస్ట్లో విద్యార్థి పంచలక్షణ కాకచేష్ట, బకధ్యానం, శ్వాన నిద్ర తథైవచ, అల్పాహారి గ్రహత్యాగి విద్యార్థి పంచలక్షణ. In next proceeding tracks, our wonderful gurus will expand and refer these panchalakshanas of students. So I take this privilege to invite today's chairperson of the track, chairperson of the track on industrial development at the rate of 2047, Industry 5.0, human-centric approach. He is a man who is having a philosophical, core philosophical, the human resources philosophical structure and base, as well as he is a real practitioner of life. He is a real practitioner of life, having a blend of both the philosophy and his real-time experience. He is none other than Professor V. Tulsidas sir, the Department of MBA HRM. He is the chairperson of today's session. He is the man known of his philosophy and expertise in practices, different HRM practices. I welcome you on the dais as the chairperson of the today's inaugural session or today's inaugural tracks proceedings. As well as I'd like to invite a good friend, the co-chairperson, faculty, Department of MBA HRM, Dr. P. Venugopal garu, onto the dais. Give him a big round of applause. Now this is the time to invite our, he can be referred or known after the professor of practice. He is a professor of practice. He is from industry. He is having hands-on experience, and hold on different proceedings. He is a policy maker also. He is a policy maker. He is a backbone of the ITC in terms of making policies, recommendations, and industry interactions. As well as he is also man who involves in the business. Even though he is a professor, he is a practitioner in HR and IR area, he also used to talk about the business. So Now in the modern context, HR is also not isolated to talk about the business. HR also one of the stakeholders in the business. He is the none other than Sri Veeraswamy Garu, J. Veeraswamy Garu. I heartfully welcome you, sir, the Vice President HR ITC Limited. Sir, please, under that. Give him a big round of applause. He is the alumnus aromatic of Department of HR. Acharya Nagarjuna University is a good friend in the department and Acharya Nagarjuna University also. Thank you very much, sir, for giving this wonderful opportunity to invite the legendary gurus and the practitioners onto the dais. Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to pass on the today's track to the chairperson, Professor V. Tulsidas, sir. Sir.
Very good morning to you all. Once again, I am inviting all of you for the 2-day UGC National Seminar on India at the rate of 2047, Human Capital for Developing India. I am very thankful to Dr. Sundi Prasad Garu to have a beautiful words about me, and respected dignitaries on the dais, the co-chair, Dr. Venugopal Garu, the Vice President, the beautiful resource person, having abundant resources on this particular area, Veeraswamy Garu, the Vice President, ITC, Agri-Business, dignitaries of the dais, my good friend Murthy Garu, and Professor Surnan Garu, and other friends who are just off the dais, dear research scholars, my dear students, and the respected industry practitioners. Once again, very good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Today, basically, not supposed to speak on, but spontaneously just I came out to the dais. My mind is fully empty, what to speak and what not to speak. But yesterday, we have a little bit of transformation things yesterday, had a discussion, that the human generation's transformation. Today, before inviting the resource person to speak on this particular session, ನಮ್ಮ ನಿರ್ಮಲ ಏಟಮ್ ಸೆಷನ್ ಟೈಟ್ಲ್ Industry 5.0 human-centric approach. Industry 5.0 human-centric approach. Industry 5.0 means is nothing but industrial revolution 5.0. So far, 5 industrial revolutions took place. Industrial 1.0 way back in 1780, followed by these all the industries. Basically, it is the 2020 development. Industry 5.0 is the 2020. Industry 5.0 is the 2020 development. But here I would like to speak on the human capital, not to speak on that all the industrial revolutions. Industry 5.0 speaks about the collaboration with human resource, with mission, to have a sustainable goods and sustainable services in targeting UNO Sustainable Development Goals. Our recent back what that things been passed, that National Educational Policy also focused on the Sustainable Goals Development, achievement. But here I would like to speak on the human resource transformation. Earlier, nobody speaks about the human resources. Usually, people speak about labor. At the very beginning of earlier, there is no human resource discipline also. There is a discipline of labor economics. There is a discipline of labor economics. Gradually, that has transformed into personal management. Basically, with thanks to F.W. Taylor, father of scientific management, worked as a foreman, operational in charge at Philadelphia Steel Company, I think so. Just he made a lot of research and identified the significance of human resource in the production process. That is the very first, so that all of you thanks to F.W. Taylor, who has initially recognized the significance of human resource in the business organizations. Earlier, human resource being considered as like animals. Nobody speaks about the human resources. Nobody speaks about their shift timings. Nobody spoke about their welfare activities and so on. So that we thanks to F.W. Taylor, who is instrumental to recognize the importance of human resource in the business organizations. Later on, in the Hawthorne experiments, Elton Mayo did a lot of research and conducted 4 experiments to identify the human performance with the business organization. All of you know that well aware about the 4 experiments. I don't want to speak about the 4 experiments. That 4 experiments help the organization to recognize what the things makes for optimal utilization of human resource in the business organization. And accordingly, as many policies, rules, regulations being transformed, from there itself, the things have been gradually getting streamlined. So that Elton Mayo considered as a father of human resource also. Father of human, not only alone Elton Mayo, along with his team of members belongs to Oxford University. Gradually, the personal management, earlier there is a labor economics. Labor economics transformed into personnel management, not personal management, personnel management, that is the people's management. Where that day by day the importance is increasing in the business organization. And human resource considered as like that remaining resource of the production. All of you are well aware about the factors of production. As per the economics, there are 4 factors of the production: land, labor, capital, and organization. But in our management terminology, that 4 factors considers a 5 M's of production. 5 M's of production: men, material, management, method, and yes, the 5 M's, where day by day the transformation makes that human resource as personal management as human resource management. Human resource management. And day by day the significance is transforming, the importance is transforming. That corporate people recognize that without human resource, nothing is possible with the business organization. Even though where we are in at present, that means artificial intelligence, robotics, or what it's so, machine learning, big data analysis, digital twins, or what it's so. That all are the output of human thinking. That all are the output of human thinking. Where the importance is growing on, or the importance is transforming, gradually the human resource management transformed into human capital management. Human capital management. Here I would like to ask all of you a basic fundamental question: that what is human resources, or what is human resource? Very basic and fundamental question. I think all of you are in the end of the post graduation, maybe the first semester, second semester, what is our third semester and fourth semester. Without have an idea of what is human resource, if you can have a discussion on all these things, there is no meaning at all. So that let us know what is human resources. What is human resource? If anybody, please.
In olden days, we used to consider only money and natural resources to be considered as resources. But nowadays, humans are also considered as resources. As without humans, there is no work can't be done. Sir.
Okay, that is what we are telling, that the significance, importance. Here my fundamental question is, what is human resource? Please, thank you. What is human resource? You know that you are well aware about. Yesterday, the seminar director also revealed about the human capital management. The same line up, we can identify what is human resource. Human resource means the people working with the organization having the capabilities, competencies, skills, aptitude, etc. to perform the given job is called human resource. Is called human resource. Means the skills is the matter, the knowledge is the matter, the capability is the matter, the competence is the matter. Irrespective of the position, irrespective of the job, irrespective of anything. Maybe the job is the watchman. To perform the watchman job also need some skills and talents or capabilities. Otherwise, the person cannot able to perform the job of security, the job of watchman. So that human resource means equipping the skills, knowledge, competencies, aptitude, competencies, etc. to perform the given job. To perform the given job. Everybody given some job or some assignments, some goals. And all of you working together for achievement of the individual goals to contribute the achievement of organizational goals. So that where days are going on, the human resource also evolving and gradually transforming into human capital management. At present of environment, it is a technological driven environment, technological driven businesses. That means in the place of manual, all the things be replaced with the machine. The machine is also replaced with the human resource, also replaced with the automation. That otherwise called as digitization, and digital transformation. Digitization, and digital transformation. Nothing but automation of human resources. From recruitment to every aspect of every function of human resources, operative function of human resources. Now that earlier we are getting a lot many applications. To scrutinize that all the applications, it takes much more time to identify the eligibility of everything. At present, there is a techniques of big data analysis. There is an artificial intelligence. We can apply that all the things. We come to know that from source of the candidate to current stage. From the source of the candidate to current stage. ఎక్కడ పుట్టాడు, ఏం చదువుకున్నాడు, ఎట్లా చదువుకున్నాడు, whether that all the qualifications are original or fake, what it's so, just we come to know through application of artificial intelligence or big data analysis or machine learning or what it's so. Means that automation helps the organization to have accuracy, to minimize the time, to minimize the operating cost. Because every organization, all of you know that, existing to maximize the profits through minimization of expenses. That is nothing but cost savings. That itself is what we call as cutting edge procedures. As part of the cutting edge procedures, now that as many corporates also making their organization into a STRIM organization. Smart organizations. Smart means what that the volume of human resources unnecessary are working with that particular activity through application of technology. They are making into STRIM, not STRIM, trim or what is so. That means shaping and reshaping the organizations. That particular process not only make them into a beautiful lean organization in the company, in the corporate culture, what is a corporate competitive environment, but also makes them to minimize the expenses and maximize the profits. You know that every business organization basic and ultimate aim is to maximization of profits. In that way, that every company is doing irrespective of the nature of the organization. Maybe the techno-based, maybe the production-based, maybe the service-oriented, or what it's so. Especially due to emergence of the IT sector, information technology sector, or information, what's advancement in technological aspects. You know that the contribution of human resources is very significant. So that the human resources now treated and considered as a human capital. Almost it's considered as a human capital. Earlier, to remember that organization name, we can remember with the name only. Now we can remember that organization name with people. In case we go for that Narayana Murthy, immediately we can remember that company name. In case we can go for that, Google CEO. Yes, we can remember that organization. We can remember Samaj, Sundar Pichai. We can remember that organization. That organizations are remembering with the people because of their knowledge, because of their competencies, core competencies, etc. are very significant to making the organization into a profitable organization. But where at present, especially in Industry 5.0, the things are going on with collaborating the human resource with the human intelligence with the mission intelligence. Because of that, just we are getting the robotics, that some other things which are in the process of production, That is why earlier the labor transferred into personnel, transferred into human resource management. Now it is considering as a human capital management. At present, of course, the human capital is equipping as like that. In case of the human capital required by 2040, should be very sharp, very smart. Not only sharp, but also smart. Sharp ka kaadu, smart ka kuda undali. So that what I am advising all of the student community is concerned. Because as many of the people are settled their life, settled their career as industrial practitioners at different positions. But I am giving only one suggestion to all the students. Yesterday also I gave it. What the things you are learning, that how to learn in an application orientation. Application orientation learning is very much important at present day of environment to acquire the required skills, to sell ourselves. మనకు మనం అమ్ముడుపోవడం means just want to get a placements in the campus or placement in the society or placement in the competitive market environment. We should equip the skills which have been expecting by the industry. So the initially all of you have to throw a light to identify what are the skills are expecting by the industry. Industry ఏం ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తుందో ముందు ఐడెంటిఫై చేయాలి. And the same way everybody have an introspection. ప్రతి ఒక్కరు ఆత్మ పరిశీలన చేసుకోవాలి. The introspection help all of you to identify what are the weaknesses with you, what are the strengths with you. If you are having more weaknesses, just you pay attention to convert the weakness into strengths. Because it is a heavy competitive environment, highly competitive, the highly competitive environment, otherwise in academic terminology calling as cutthroat competitive environment. In the cutthroat competitive environment, we want to be an employee, we want to be a part of a particular company or what is so. We should learn, we should develop the required skills, and accordingly, if your education takes place, you would have a beautiful career. In case of you are denying maybe that all are techno-based, so that I am unable to understand the technology. I hail from the rural background, I hail from the poor family, I hail from something. That all are nonsensing things. And nobody have to be show mercy. ఎవరు మేము ప్రేమ దయ చూపిరు, నువ్వు ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చావు ఎవరు అడగరు. The only thing what they have to make an inquiry that at what level you have the skills and competencies to perform the given assignment. That is the only thing they have to make an inquiry. Yesterday I felt very happy. I saw one clipping in newspaper. One of the person who studied MHRM in Andhra University got 1.3 crore placement. 1.3 crore package per annum placement. You can imagine what extent of effort he made to reach the particular position. కాబట్టి ఆషామాషిగా ఉంటే మనకు అవసరమైన డెవలప్ చేసుకోలేము. Everybody should pay attention. Everybody should identify that all the things. And accordingly how to take the preparation, definitely one fine day you will reach that the particular goal. Ultimately you will set in your career. With these few remarks, I am very happy to invite the co-chair Dr. Venugopal garu to speak on few things about this particular technical session.
Good morning, my dear student friends, many of the research scholars, academicians, and delegates, and the seminar director Nagaraj Garu, and technical section chairperson. He is a great icon of management studies, Tulsidas Garu, research person Veeraswamy Garu. I would like to speak a few words about Indian industrial at the rate of 2047 industry 5.0 human-centric approach for the development of India. As Indian progress towards 2047, making 100 years of independence, the future of wars, the globalization and the technical transformation of the technical change, drive for the technological changes. The development of human capital is essential for the advancement of the country, and also the knowledge cultivation, high quality education, skill development, technical literature, and holistic practice and holistic development of the entire country. Thank you for the giving me a great opportunity for the seminar director Nagaraj Garu and the co-chairperson, chairperson Tulsi Das Garu. Thank you for giving me a great opportunity. Thank you, sir. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Dr. Venugopal Garu. Having beautiful words about the current technical session. Now I feel great privilege to invite more resourceful. Why I am speaking as like that? Earlier just he spoke in different seminars. There, based on that observations, I am speaking about his expertness. He is expert in human resources, working as a vice president, human resource, ITC agro business, Guntur. Now I invite Veeraswamy Garu to give his resources to all of you. Sir, please.
Respected faculty and student community, good morning and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts or views on the specific topic. Before we get into it, I was just observing the opening of today's session by one professor saying that, an industry practitioner and you can also make certain things and changes. The recent development that we brought in to the student community and to the industry is, you all know about, of course, Professor Nagaraj was also part of it to sometimes, because we did some deliberations on it. How many of you are from MBA background? All are MBA. When I said MBA, it is not MHR. It is only MBA. Your degree is called as MBA, not MHR. Raise your hands. Okay, whatever. The MBA qualification is not suitable to be appointed as a welfare officer in an industry, as per the Factories Act of 1947. Rule 76B talks about qualification. It says one of the subjects that student has to study is labor welfare. The olden days, 30-40 years back, you have a lot of courses called sociology, MA IRPM, MHRM, MA social work, specializing in personal management. So they were all eligible to be appointed as a welfare officers. But today, that course is not there. Everywhere we call is MBA only. In MBA, we don't see that particular course called labor welfare per se. So that's the reason that these students are not eligible. Hence, I represented to the government, the previous government, and I think I met Mr. Pitani, who was the labor minister that time. We argued and we convinced, he said, I can't do anything, I don't understand much, but you go to the principal secretary of that time. The principal secretary was Banwar Lal that time. So I went and met him, I made a presentation. He was also convinced, but he said nothing can be done now. Yes, we are too busy on many things. This is a too small thing for us. Then I met few more secretaries, etc., and I gave the representation and left it there. And in recent times, when the new government came in, I suddenly got a call from the director of factories stating that, your request has been considered by the government. They wanted to discuss with you. Please come for a meeting. So when we went, I explained the need for change of that clause, how it is prohibiting certain students to be appointed as a welfare officers, and how the industry is getting impacted despite of the lot of students who are trained, available, but because of this condition, they were not eligible to be appointed as a welfare officer. Now, I think about 3-4 months from now, the draft rules have come and put it into the public space for the industry to express their concerns if they have. Otherwise, in 45 days' time, that gazette will become the legislation. The Rule 76B of the Factories Act is being amended. That's a good news for all of you. Coming back to the second part of it, I thank ITC, I work for it, and it has been magnanimously allowing me to participate and talk to the students like you, so in many other spaces. So it is my moral responsibility that I should talk about ITC wherever I go. ITC is an Indian company. If at all anybody believes it's a multinational, no. It's a truly an Indian company. It is into 3 sectors of the economy. You may call it as a manufacturing, you may call it as services, you may call it as agriculture. The division that I represent is the core agriculture division. Thank you. In the second, we have 200 factories across the country and pioneered in agri sector. The third sector which we are is into hotels, which is service, and IT enabled sectors. So some few glimpses that you can see. These are the brands that you might have seen. Some of you may not be knowing, but you may be using day in and day out in your everyday life. We are close to about 80,000 crores on revenue and 20,000 crores on profitability. And we are a pioneer company in terms of ESG, or what do you call the sustainability practices across the country, and we even compete on certain global standards, including US and other European companies. This is Royal Bengal, recently opened in Calcutta. I spent about 1,000 crores on building this hotel. This is Bhadrachalam PSPD factory. This is Agri-Supia that we operate. This is a spices factory in Guntur, newly started. Adjacent to it, one more factory is coming up. The agri-business division, which I work or represent, we are into 200 commodities like wheat, soya, tobacco, spices, etc., present in 22 states and 220 districts across the country. Our presence is in these places. These are the commodities that we deal and the locations. Well, the third and the core area that for the day, I have a question for all of you. the civilization started? What is civilization? Transforming from animal to a human. So when does it started? When can you say that a significant time or a development when civilization started? Okay, it will be difficult to ask individual question. Human used to rely on hunting, and he is subjected to many wild animals or boars or whatever it is. The day human learnt on curing or healing the femur bone, that was the day of civilization started. Because if you can't move, because where the femur bone, other than any other bone, you can still stand, move around, do something. But when your femur bone is subjected to any kind of a difficulty, you will not be able to stand up or move anywhere. You can't find your food. So the day the human learned how to heal the femur bone, that is the day the civilization started. This is for the survival of those human beings, and from there that we progressed. The word quote and unquote progressed. Now the real topic is, why are we talking about industry or Vikasit Bharat 2047? I know it has a significance of 100 years of independence. So why are we talking about? Why can't be 2050? Why can't we be another 100 years? Why can't be to 2030? Why it is so? Because we need to develop, we need to progress from the current state to a desired state where certain things are required. So you have an occasion of that, you completed 100 years of independence. Taking that as a cue, there has been some thought and thoughtfulness by the leaders. They made it during these 100 years. We wanted to make like your MBO, management by objectives, right? Similarly, for 2047, they conceived a thought, they conceived an idea, they had a plan, they wanted to achieve it, and it requires a whole lot of things. What is that government will do, what is it people has to do, what is the industry has to do, various do's and don'ts that are required has also been envisaged. That is the context of your industrial development, or you call it as Vikasit Bharat is overall development. When it comes to industrial development 2047, specifically on the industry of 3 core sectors. I think the theme, the topic has been very thoughtfully made. It talks about industrial development 2047, and it doesn't stop there. It also encompasses 2 more areas, that is called Industry 5.0 as well as human-centric approach or human-centric development. HCD it's called, but otherwise it's also known as a human development, human-centric approach. So we will spend some time about the industry, overall economy, because you need to understand economy, then only you will be able to come down, drill down further and be able to understand. Then we will come to Industry 5.0, and then we also spend some time on HCD. It goes like this. We will see certain global economies, India's growth story so far, Vikasit Bharat 2047, what government is talking about, how it is that possible, how can we make it realizing that objective, the sectorial classification 5.0 and HCD. This has been the trend, the current global economies. As usual, United States is on the toppest with about 30 billion trillion dollar economy, followed by China and the Germany and Japan and India more or less on the same state. This is what it is. We were at 5, we were at 6, we were at 7, but we have made a significant progress on various counts. So we reached to a 3rd or 4th stage or a state where we interchange frequently with Japan and India. Sometimes we go ahead by 0.1 trillion, sometimes Japan goes ahead, but we have a concrete plan to move ahead of Japan. Why? Because Japan's economy grows at 1% or at 0.5%, but whereas Indian economy is growing on an average about 7%. So it is very clear, not only in this year, even traditionally also we have been growing in those ranges. So it is obvious that we will surpassing Japanese economy in quite a few years time, very short span of time. Because Japan is mostly a mature economy, but India is still a developing economy where we have a room or a scope for improvement, but Japan has reached to a status quo. Their growth comes predominantly by investing elsewhere rather than generating domestically. This is about year-on-year GDP growth in terms of percentage. What we have seen is total volume of economy. Now you see from the year 1951 to 52, how did Indian economy grew over the years. You have a very bad years like 81, 82 and 20 and 21, that's because of COVID. We were deep down. Please understand, you being a management students, you need to understand the economy and the mega trends. If you don't understand the mega trends, speaking about your own HR or management is only standalone subject. You will not be able to connect your function to the business. In order to make that, you need to understand these things. If somebody is economically challenged, economically when I say it's by subject, or engineeringly challenged, you have to adapt and cope up rather than saying that, okay, no, economy is not my area, I will remain only in recruitment. No, it's not the way.
Can you come back to the previous slide? What happened during the 78, 79? Just you want to know.
I do not know exactly. I was also very kid. But this data has been very reliable, and because it has come from authentic source of the Government of India, as well as NASSCOM also has been ratified on the same grounds, and also PwC is also has got a similar representation. Similarly, for the years later on from 51 to 52 to 75, 76, this is the growth rate. And 77 to 2001, again, these are the numbers that India represents. And 21 to 24 currently, these are our country's growth rates. On an average, we are about 6.5 to 7%. At particular year that we crossed about 9.2, but otherwise our average growth rate is about 6.5 to 7%, which we can consider. But whereas China is ahead of 9%. I think this we have already seen the global economy that we have seen in terms of $1 trillion. But whereas now, year-wise, if you see how did our economy grew, and when it comes to 2046 or 47, we want to become a $35 trillion economy. How is that possible? Is that possible? Currently we are about close to 4.5 trillion, and by 47 we want it to be $35 trillion, almost like current United States economy in terms of volume. That is a vision. It's called BHAG. Big, hairy, audacious goal. This is the per capita that envisaged. If you look at 2023 versus 2030, the sectorial representation is the 54% is services, 26% is industry, and 20% is agriculture. And by the time it comes to 2030, and the 20% agri will become 17, will come down, and the 54 will become 56, which is services, IT and IT related, banking, etc., etc. And your 26 will become 29, that is industrial development. Further, to up to 47, is going to be 54 service sector, 34 is industrial sector, and 12 will be the agri sector. And it has been correlating with the global economies. The developed economies are mostly dependent on services and the industry rather than agri. They were at 2%, 5%, 6%, 10%, but whereas predominantly we were about 17-18%, but now it is 2047, we are anticipated to be at 12%, but it has a lot of pitfalls or drawbacks. How do we address the food shortage that is required for globally, because we are a significant exporter and we cut down our produce in terms of agriculture and focusing on industry and services. Who will feed these hungry stomachs of the global is going to be the question. If we look at other sectors, countries, Switzerland is about agricultural dependence is 0.6%, but services are almost 72%, and industry is about 25%. That's what I said, it is correlating. Norway 1.7% agri, 42% industry, 42% service, 50% is industry. And you look at Japan is 1% agri, 72% services, and 27% industry. We are also statistically moving in those directions by 2047. Okay, these are the employment generations. This is the first question that I have asked you all. What happens? What do we do in this Viksit Bharat 2047? The primary objective or the focus is to creating a prosperous and self-sufficient nation. We borrow every year from one country or another. So we wanted to be independent. And we wanted to make a progress from current state to another state. And the growth prospects should reach to all the people. Not like 80%, 20% of the population is owning the 80% of the GDP of the country, but it needs to be equally distributed. That is also one objective of this Viksit Bharat. Sustainable development. And it's not that what we do is only for one time. We need to sustain, not achieve and again come back. We need to ensure that we will be able to maintain that. And also, there are certain industrial practices that needs to be brought in to the economy that also need to be required. And the last is promoting transparency, accountability. It's more of a governance related. How do we ensure that there is a transparent system of administration that is working, where you don't have a pay bribe or etc. Or the budgets that are allocated to the certain policies are reaching to those people and the policies. Now, how is this possible? Actually, if you ask me, this is the crux of my slide, most important and the critical slide. How is that possible? Why? We made an ambitious plan. The ambitious plan is like from 23 to 35 trillion dollars that we wanted to reach. And we need to be third largest economy sustainably, because the gap between China and India is huge. You can't say that, okay, I'll surpass China and I will be the number 2. So there is a huge gap, so you cannot be. So we wanted to be at least third largest economy. High income per capita income should be higher, saying that from $15 to $20,000 per individual. So this is an ambitious plan of 2047 for this country. So the key markers, what drives this change? what brings us to 35 trillion, what brings us to third largest economy, what brings us to 15,000 to 20,000 US dollars per capita income in this country. One is global industry leaders. When we say, you take certain companies in India like Reliance, they will be definitely in the top 100 of the world and top 10 in the country. Similarly, this mission, this statement says we need to have those kind of industries 10 or more. Then we will be able to reach out. One key marker that will drive us to those three primary goals of 2047 is to have at least 10 Indian firms in top 100 or 3 to 4 champions across the sector. Like Reliance is in fuel or petroleum. Similarly in semiconductor, can we be one company like Apple in India? Or if not Apple, you say Goa, some other company, where you have a presence across the globe. You are 1, 2, 3, 4th of the global company. So those kind of industries required. That will take us. And the second driver is diverse workforce. Obviously, now what is happening, whether sustainability practice gives you an advantage or do not advantage, now for your economical or for your business requirement, predominantly you are looking at a male population, ignoring the female population. Currently I am talking about, not at this point of time on the future. So that means your potential resourcing, despite of available in front of you, you are not training them, skilling them. You put your eye blind and say that, okay, they are not fit for me. So the statement says here, you bring those people also, equip them in education, equip them with the skill and put them into the work. Then you will increase the resourcing, you bring the diversity, and the research also shows the diversity gives you higher productivity as well. Second driver. And the third most, you need to have a cutting edge infrastructure. It may be tech, non-tech infrastructure, both in rural and urban. Urban we are okay to some extent, rural we are pretty bad. Our agricultural land pieces or parcels are too small, you can't deploy any mechanization, you can't bring any technology. Supposing you take United States, Europe or South Americas, where the land parcels are into hundreds of acres and anything that is done through mechanization, including a fertilizer, is sprayed through choppers or planes. Assume in India, for my own 2-acre piece of land, I bring a chopper and put up. By the time I put it, will go to somebody else's land, not on my land. Right? So, but this requires a change. But how do we do it is something that need to be thought through and bring it up. Because it's not only about bringing change in terms of cutting edge infra, it also a change in terms of a social approach. Because we are not ready for a cooperative agriculture. We have been talking about cooperative agri, but I am not okay to remove my boundaries of my land. Because after that again I won't be getting it back. And the next is
Cooperative.
cooperative.
Not corporate.
Cooperative, not cooperative.
Corporate.
It is cooperative means you have to take it on a lease and do it on a separate method. Or this is about, now you're talking about government, central government, Mr. Modi talking about FPOs. FPOs are nothing but come together and produce together and sell together, taking advantage out of it. We have about 5,000 FPOs that we created as an ITC in northern India. We are also coming to the south India. Now, at least we are still unable to facilitate to use the infrastructure or a cutting edge technology okay, whatever you produce, please bring it to one common platform. And look at use where is that you have a highest margin that you can sell, you sell it to them. Obviously we wanted to bid and compete and we wanted to buy. So we facilitate on no cost, but whereas nothing we could do on, making the land pieces larger. Production, mass production. Look at China. They produce to the extent that it not only meets the requirement, it dumps extra. It dumps extra at a time that the other countries has to put a moratorium that you can't dump on it is, such dump will have a tax. So surplus production and export-led production, where the customer needed those produce that you are producing on a cost competitive price, not at a higher price, of course, nobody will produce that. Then that will take you to these core objectives of 2047. Sustainability, you have energies, you have, don't look at sustainability as a CSR or a good to have. It is necessary. Now we are talking about green hydrogen, green fuel, where you convert water into a fuel. Currently such conversion is taking more cost, but by 2030 it will be cheaper by 50%. So when the companies that are getting this opportunity, this is what the McKinsey talks about, will be the pioneer companies in the country for the future. So you replace your conventional energy with renewable energy, and where you are not polluting anything. Currently, the 6 largest industries, cement, power, etc., steel, are highly pollution producing companies. So you need to be sustainable, not only for the sake of competing in the global origin, but also to reduce your cost. Technology leader, high focus on R&D and innovations. You need to bring in lots of innovations, and a lot of R&D needs to be done in many areas. When you talk about R&D, we will get into, HCD, human-centric design, which is related. Now further, the enablers to do all these are global competitiveness through technology. So how do we achieve these 6 vectors? Are by these 4 macro enablers. Globally competitive through technology. You bring in AI, machine learning, or whatever you bring in. But this would help you to drive these 6 core markets. The second is greater skilled labor force participation. I was listening to the Chief Minister and AP. He was talking about for the future what is required is renewable energy. He's talking about the resourcing. He's talking about technology. These 3 are, human resources. These are the 4 things that he's talking about. Artificial intelligence, renewable energy, human resources, and the sustainability. These are the 4 things. And absolutely they are right. If you don't have a people, it's like, you don't have, your body doesn't have a blood. You can't move, you are paralyzed. If you don't have money, you can borrow money from a bank or from somewhere else. But if you don't have people, how will you produce? How will you sell? You can't do that. And you need to have advanced manufacturing capabilities. Because I am focusing on industry only, not in general in any other things. Advanced manufacturing practices that comes through innovation and R&D or any other need-based technology needs to be deployed in order to achieve Vikasit Bharat of 2047. The last but not the least, which have been talked about, sustainability. sustainability is going to be the largest field, even better than your MBA in future. It gives money. Your HR, you only spend money. Please be mindful about it. So this is the way that we realize the Vikasit Bharat of 2047, the industry need to play this kind of roles. There are many other things because we don't have a lot of time. So there are certain sectors that will drive this change further coming in. Automobile is going to be now, just look at Europe or United States. Every individual will possess a car. Come what, maybe he may be a small job or a bigger job. Same thing would happen for India or any other developing and underdeveloped country in future. If 2047 to be the reality, every individual will possess one type or another type of a car. So the automobile is going to be flourishing. It is the area, and the core focus on industrialization will be automobile and the automobile era. FMCG, it is inevitable that you need to have fast moving consumable goods, especially of food items, food related products, from 557 billion by 2028 from 307 billion US dollars. The financial tech services and your information technology, let's talk about. You have a banking sector, various type of hedging, etc. that happens. And also India is pioneering in information technology, there is no doubt about it. Pharma is another important area. We talked about sustainability. In the sustainability, the renewable energy, that for your information, 60% of the power that overall ITC uses is coming through windmills, not from Singareni, Colliery, coal. We achieved 60% renewable energy, only 40% more, and another 10 years time we're going to be 100% on renewable energy. That is a pressing need for our business. Other areas are infrastructure development. You need roads, you need tech parks, you need various kind of infrastructures, irrigation and non-irrigated. Renewable energy we talked about. R&D, semiconductor business is also going to be the biggest vector that's going to play a role in by 2047, and the digital transformation that happens through the artificial intelligence. That's about that. Coming back to Industry 5.0, I think somebody already discussed about how this industrialization has evolved. Currently we are at Industry 4.0, we are talking about Industry 4.5. I will not take much time on this. If you want, I can leave this presentation to you. But remember one thing. Industrialization alone would not help us anymore. Or your automation alone will not help us anymore. It requires some more things. It requires a human touch. Now we are talking about cobots, not a robot, a collaborative bot that will interface with human and for the human needs. So far, whatever you bring in cutting edge technology of automation, IoT or AI, etc., is all fine, but it should collaborate with human being. It cannot see human beings separately or independently. That is about Industry 5.0. So looking at any technology that you bring in, any automation, any robotics that you bring in, it should not displace the human element. It should collaborate the human element with the human element and lead to the productivity or reduction of cost. Reduction of cost itself is about increasing productivity. And you will see that in future, chief robotic officer, or it can also be chief, cobotics officer also, like you got a CHRO, you got a CFO, you got a CTO, technology officer. very soon you will get to see this chief robotic officer as well. Coming back to human-centered design. Design or approach, you can see interchangeably used words. And this is not a new concept. It has been there for a long time. While in 1960 it got articulated by Dr. Norman, who is a psychology professor, through his book Everyday Things of Psychology. I think that's the fundamental book from where the things have been changed. It was reprinted in 1988. Further, modification that has happened. Otherwise, it's not a new concept. The approach that you have towards other things, seeing a problem as a system, not as a one single individual problem. I'll take you certain examples here. While it has an approach of 6 points, understand what is required, you do a co-pilot and you do evaluate, you produce, you test, etc. All those things are there. I just give you some live examples so that you understand it. While I was entering here, I pushed the door. I don't know, some of you might have observed, but the door did not open. So the door was not friendly to me. It could have been written push or pull. The door design itself little, is a plant. There should have been a mark. I'm not saying that the university needs to be upgraded, no. I'm just giving an example to understand what is human-centric design. A board of pull or push could have been helped me so that I could have easily walked through. So I state, or rather we can assume, this is not human-centric design or an approach. I give you another example. A differently abled individual student who wanted to participate in this conference, and he is a wheelchair bound. How would he come from outside? So this building is not human-centrically designed. Sir, am I running out of time?
No, please sir, please go ahead.
It is not. And I give you another example. Johnson & Johnson was a great company. Before your revolution of vision missions coming in, the company used to have a credo, which is nothing but a statement of purpose. In those statement of purpose, it used to have, what would Jesus do in a given situation of ethical nature? Supposing they released a medicine, they released a product to the market. After releasing, they found out there is a defect. What do we do? So those kind of ethical situations, they think that, okay, what would Jesus do? So they bring in, okay, perhaps Jesus might have done this. Please recall the product. You have seen a lot of car companies, after selling, they recall those cars because there is a defect into it. Because probably you will meet with an accident if that is not rectified. That is human-centric design. Another example which you all use, and this is an innovation by an Andhra student, NIT student, your red bus. For one Ugadi, he wanted to come from Bangalore to Hyderabad that time. He couldn't find any bus. He was running around one traveler to another travels. He says not available, that you go there. But finally he couldn't able to find out. He said, come on, let me create a platform where people like me can see all the buses available, and the buses also come onto my platform, so I can choose which bus I can travel it. This is human-centric design or an approach, right? Especially when it comes to technology, very dangerous technology like atomic energy that you are doing it. You all know that Baba Atomic Research Center in Bombay, which is adjacent to my hostel building when I was a student, there used to be a reactor operator. There's a fusion that happens there, nuclear fusion that happens. If the operator goes on one single day leave, it is written in the policy, the next day when he comes back, he will automatically become an assistant operator. So that is a human-centric approach. By any chance, if the other operator did not pass on certain information to the resumed or a person who went on leave, then he will assume that okay, day before yesterday what we was doing was the same. But any change, any kind of a small danger will be disastrous to the country and the world and the whole environment. And that's the reason they kept it such a way that next day I will not take away your pay, but you will become an assistant operator for a week time. You will work under him. That is called human-centric design. And similarly, any other technology that you bring in aviation, you call in Japanese technique called pokoyoke. Even if you want to do it, you can't do it. Right? Because it is controlled, you can't do this activity because there is a danger involved. Though system has been designed such a way that so you will not be able to have an access to do those things. Right? Now, just assume you are walking into a supermarket and you are attending a phone that we are all used to, no? And you have a phone and you have a bag. On one side you want to enter into the supermarket. The door is closed. Who will open it for you? Security is not there. Now the human design is there. There is a sensor. The door automatically opens by sensing there is somebody is coming in. That's called human design centric design. Design approach, both are interchangeably used, can be used, but a slight difference. When I say rather operationally I claim it my way, approach is one-to-one, more of a personal. Or rather, when I decided to leave my previous company, Murugappa Group, and wanted to join ITC, the chairman called me one day because I used to work with him. He told me, the decision that you take based on your mind, calculation, methodology, etc., even if they go wrong in future, you will repent. But if you take a decision based on your heart, even if you fail in future, you don't repent. Because what is your brain says, what is my role, what will be my increment, what will be my total CTC when I move to other company, etc., etc. These are all calculations that go into the mind. But what happens to my heart? How do I leave these people whom I have worked for so many years? Chairman has been called me 3 times to his house for a dinner, especially. He don't invite many of the people. And the relation that I built, the comforts that I enjoy, what will happen, all those things. So he gave me an approach of, while you are taking a decision, be a human-centered approach rather than cubed by numbers. I'll also give you another example. I think this might be much easier. When I joined ITC, there was Chirala factory used to have 2,600 employees, workers. Now they have only 1,700 employees. Rest of the people, मैंने खा लिया उनको. I have eaten away. I have eaten away without any pain for them. I have reduced the people because of automation. While we bring in an automation, we made it in such a way that, okay, none of them will go out of the job. I will not ask you to leave tomorrow. I will not put you to the road. When you retire, I will not take your replacement. your replacement is going to be my machine. Why would they say no? Even for initially they say no, but that is not a sustainable argument. Right? Making sense. So this is called human-centric design or an approach that one need to follow. Just quickly, I think this is what the Einstein states while as under there. I fear the day when the technology overlaps with our humanity, the world will only have a generation of idiots. While technology is required, but the technology without a human touch is not helping the society anyway. So have an empathy, look at something, there is a disabled individual that is coming in, he wanted to participate. What is that I can do, being an architect of this building? So empathize with him. Then says, needs, understand the needs and the aspirations of the individual and find an effective solution. Make a product, test the product, implement and evaluate and see that it is helping the individual. Any technology or any act that you do should help the individual and it should not separate the individual from it. Test, refine, improve, product design, service development, organizational culture. You got mobile apps, etc., etc. That's all, my friends. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Veeraswamy garu. At the very beginning of Veeraswamy garu's speech, I categorically revealed that he is a resourceful of resource person. I think everybody enjoyed the resources what he delivered in this particular technical session. He covered lot many issues. Initially started with about ITC. Later on, he's keeping his presentation to global economic scenario, Indian economic growth rates, sectoral contributions to GDP, but something sectoral contribution may be the service sector at present contribution is nearly about 65%. But still, what the sources just you have presented there shows only the 54%.
For state or country you are saying?
Country. India. Yes, as many books just I read that, just I referred, identified that the service sector contribution to GDP is around 65%. Followed by that industry sector and finally agriculture sector. Okay, sectoral contribution to GDP, transformation of growth, sustainable development, promoting transparency. That is, of course, maybe దాన్ని ఏమంటారు నేతి బీరకాయలో నెయ్యి సందం మరి ముఖ్య భారతదేశానికి వస్తాయి ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ విషయానికి వచ్చేటప్పటికల్లా తర్వాత గ్లోబల్ ఇండస్ట్రీ లీడర్స్ దట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో అనదర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ వన్. We have two global industry leaders in India. One is Mittal, another one is at Reliance and Mittal. I think Mittal also recently identified as one of the fair man by USO and booked a case against that illegal activities of the business doing. And diverse workforce, that is that inclusive workforce. Last year also we conducted, the Department of Human Resource Management conducted one beautiful seminar, that the diversity, equity and inclusion. That it means not only inclusion of women employees but also inclusion of lesbians. Yes. LGBT. Yes. LGBT. That is another one. Cutting edge infrastructure. That the mechanization is immensely necessary to have the developed human capital by 2040. But need more investment in R&D. But where Indian budget, just you can throw a light on budget, the allocations for R&D in India is of course not sufficient enough to achieve that R&D development or industrial development. Self-sufficient production, that is the export lead economy, that another important thing what the SAR is highlighted. Basically, up to that recent back, China is a closed economy. Everywhere they have a self-sufficient. At present, once they became the member in the WTO, World Trade Organization, they have a full freedom to move anywhere in the world. So that now what the product you can go for in America, that all products being manufactured by the China. Not only in America, but also in India also, we can see that all the products are from China. Because that extent of commitment we need so to have by 2047. Another one is the sustainability. You know that focus should be on, SAR has highlighted the focus should be on green HRM, green marketing, green finance, what it's so green. Everywhere the focus should be on green. And also highlighted that renewable energies instead of the present scenario of energy, we should go for renewable energy, wind, solar and so alternative energy sources. Technological leaders, that are equally important. Global competitiveness is another important one. And also SAR highlighted key enablers to achieve that workforce by 2047 is greater skilled labor force participation, advanced infrastructure capabilities, sustainable infrastructure, and finally, SAR has highlighted human-centric approach is the ultimate panacea to be the workforce should be in the 2047. So with these few remarks, I am very thankful to Veeraswamy Garu to deliver very beautiful resources to make enlightening of all the people to understand about what the need of the workforce by 2047. Thank you very much, sir. There is a paper presentators. There is a 4 paper presentators. The paper presenter should be confined to 5 to 6 minutes. 5 to 6 minutes of their presentation. At the outset, I would like to invite K. Srinivas Rao, Head IR and Placement, Siddhartha Academy, and also Richard Scholar in the Department of Human Resource Management. Now I invite him to present his paper.
Very good morning, all of you. So, respected professors and the students from the Department of MBA and Human Resources Management. This topic is related to the workforce changes in the next generation, so which is replacing with the artificial intelligence. There is no doubt. So definitely the workplace of the industry 5.0, 100% going to be replaced with the different kinds of the workplaces. So mainly it focuses on the 4 different segments of the industries. One is manufacturing industry, the second one is the healthcare industry, and third one is the management consultancies especially, and the next one is the service sector industry. So coming to as a healthcare industry is concerned, majority of the hospital industry or it may be the diagnostics centers completely depends upon the artificial intelligence enabled laboratories and the equipments. So now the management students plays the very vital and the key role. So in the previous discussion of the ITC professor, ITC delegate, so he mentioned that almost the agriculture percentage of the agriculture is almost the 14% or 16%. So I don't know in what exactly is taking the place, but if that is the case, so it might be replaced with that particular place also in the artificial intelligence for the more productivity of the products. So here the problem is it is in a connectivity with the human brains or ergonomy with the human brains. So if you are equipped with the human minds, so it means the technology enabled. So being the head of the industry relations and the placements department, so for the last 20 years of an experience, so myself I clearly observed that lot of improvement in the their recruitment process. They are not looking to the students with the high percentage of the marks. And whether you are learning whether you are in the computer science engineering student or mechanical engineering or civil or HRM or MBA, whether you have the talented person or equipped with an industry or not. So here my conclusion part of this particular, I don't want to take the much time. So my conclusion part of this particular paper presentation is, especially for the students, I request you, please learn for the different kinds of the technologies which is relating to the decision making part, and the next one is especially the industry point of the industry 5.0. So here the automation of the repetitive tasks is the most important. So we maybe used the Amazon TV's parts, and the next one is the IBM Watson healthcare units, especially for the decision making parts. And the next one is concerned education sector, especially it impacts on the lot. So we are going to reshaping the entire system in the education sector. So now we are in the very lucky to we have the very good gurus. So, and we are associated with the gurus and we learn the lot many things. But whereas in the next generation of the education system and the either it may be the NEP policy or it may be others, so we may be the rethink again the learning part and the learnability of the students especially. Okay, it's in the another side of the coin, and the next another side of the coin is concerned. So what at the same time we are going to face the different kinds of the challenges. So one is the job displacement and skill mismatch, and we are expecting something and the skill so which is exhibited by it may be the robo, or it may be the machine learning, or it may be the AI. So there are a lot of mismatch. The operated by some human brain or the inbuilt the capability or the technology, it might be different. So sometimes it may be the mismatch. And the next one is the rising economy inequality. So normally the two different kinds of the manpower activities is taken to place. One is the completely the high end. When in a classroom of the 60, the students, the high IQ level of the students might be the 15%, or it may be the 20% within AI equipped, or it may be the machine learning equipped. So always the differentiation of their career enhancement and the future workforce may be, so definitely it is a remarkable part. And the next one is basis in AI systems and data privacy issues. So definitely we are going to face the different kinds of the data privacy issues related to any kind of any industry. So this may be 100% is required, and another challenging area is concerned the transparent and ethical use of the AI in the this manufacturing industry or any kind of any industry. So these are the major challenges which we are going to face for if the workplace is replaced with the artificial intelligence. So thank you very much, and if any questions, I'm happy to answer that. Thank you.
Thank you, Srinivas Garu, for a beautiful and summarized presentation about the Industry 5.0. Now, I would like to invite A. Vera Viswanath, Research Scholar, Vikram Shivampuri University, followed by Swati, Research Scholar, Vikram Shivampuri, followed by Jakka Nageswar Rao, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication. Be ready to present your presentations, but your presentation should be confined to 3 to 4 minutes or 5 minutes, maximum 5 minutes. Because we are running late by the time.
Very late.
Good morning to all. My topic is Industry Development 2047 Industry 5.0 Human-Centric Approach. What is industry development? Industry development is the growth, transformation of industry from traditional manual labor to mechanized automated production, resulting in increased efficiency, productivity, economic growth. Industry 4.0. What is Industry 4.0? Industrial revolution represents a significant shift of manufacturing industrial process. It is IoT, Internet of Things and cloud computing. What is IoT? IoT means connecting devices, machines to the internet to data exchange. Cloud computing means storing and processing data remotely, enabling the scalability and accessibility. Main disadvantage 4.0 disadvantage వచ్చేసి job displacement and skills gap and high implementation cost. 5.4 industry 5.0 is the next phase of industrial revolution that comprises human intelligence and maintenance capabilities, create more sustainable and resilient human centered industrial recognition system. Human centric, it is the importance to the humans and machines, well-being, the dignity of industrial process. It is a hybrid intelligence. Hybrid intelligence means combining human and machines intelligence, the better outcomes. Cyber physical systems, integrating physical and computational systems and efficiency. Main advantages of 5.0 is enhanced creativity and better decision making, improved life balance, improved work-life balance. It is the most important to the 5.0. Human-centered industrial ecosystem. Human-centered. It is a big data analysis, analyzing the large data sets to identify the patterns, insights.
Thank you, Veera Vishwanathan, sir. Just he highlighted the importance of human resources, especially human-centric approach in Industry 5.0. Now it's the time to invite C.H. Swati, research scholar, Vikram University.
Good morning to one and all, respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, students and research scholars from various universities. And first of all, I would like to thank you, Professor Nagaraju Sir Garu, for giving me this great opportunity to stand in front of you and to share a few words about the role of education in shaping the attitudes of youth for a Viksit Bharat at 2047. సో మనందరికీ తెలుసు వై వి గ్యాదర్డ్ హియర్ అనేసి, ఎందుకు మనందరం ఇక్కడ గ్యాదర్ అయ్యామంటే 2047 కల్లా. సో ద విజన్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా ఈజ్ టు మేక్ అవర్ ఇండియా బై ద ఇయర్ 2047 యాజ్ ఎ డెవలప్డ్ కంట్రీ. సో బై ఇట్స్ 100th anniversary ఆఫ్ ఇండిపెండెన్స్ ఇన్ ద ఇయర్ 2047. సో అందుకే మనం ఇక్కడ గ్యాదర్ అయ్యాము. 2047 కంతా కూడా మన కంట్రీని ఒక డెవలప్డ్ కంట్రీగా మనం మార్చాలి అనేసి. So various universities are conducted different programs on different topics. So here in this university also has conducted this program based on 5 themes, right? So I have chosen one of the topic, that is the role of education in shaping the attitudes of youth. So నేను ఒకటే సజెస్ట్ చేస్తాను, youth are the change makers of the society. Am I right? Of course, youth are the change makers of the society. They can do anything if they want to do. వాళ్ళు ఏదైనా చేయగలుగుతారు వాళ్ళు తలుచుకుంటే, because that much courage they have. So how the education plays the role in shaping the attitudes of youth means, through education we can get some things, right? So in education there are 9 letters, right? E for, through education we can get E, efficiency. చదువుకోవడం వల్ల ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ద్వారా మనం ఎఫిషియన్సీని మనం పొందగలుగుతాము. నెక్స్ట్ డి, డిసిప్లైన్, వేర్ వీ కెన్ గెట్ ఎ డిసిప్లైన్ ఫ్రమ్ అవర్ పేరెంట్స్ అండ్ ఆల్సో ఫ్రమ్ అవర్ టీచర్స్. చదువుకోవడం వల్ల మనం డిసిప్లైన్ అనేది మనకు వస్తుంది. సో డిసిప్లైన్ ఆల్సో వన్ ఆఫ్ ది మేజర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఎలిమెంట్ అంటాను. ఎందుకంటే అవర్ బిహేవియర్ tells what we are, our dress code tells what we are, what our behavior. So discipline అనేది కూడా మనం ఎక్కడి నుంచి నేర్చుకుంటామంటే ఎడ్యుకేషన్ నుంచే. నెక్స్ట్ సి, కరేజ్ అండ్ క్రియేటివిటీ. సో I stood in front of you here today because that education suits me to stand in front of you and share a few words about this topic. ఆ ఎడ్యుకేషనే నాకు ఆ ధైర్యం ఇచ్చింది. ఆ ధైర్యం వల్ల నేను ఇక్కడ మీ ముందుకు రాగలిగాను. నాకు వచ్చిన లాంగ్వేజ్లో నేను మాట్లాడడానికి ఇక్కడ ఉన్నాను. సో ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ద్వారా మనం ఏం పొందుకుంటాం? ఎఫిషియన్సీ, అలాగే డిసిప్లైన్, అలాగే కరేజ్. నెక్స్ట్ ఏ ఫర్ అడ్మైరబుల్ నాలెడ్జ్. సో చాలా మందికి తెలివితేటలు ఉంటాయి, కొన్ని పనికొచ్చే తెలివితేటలు ఉంటాయి, కొన్ని అసలు ఎందుకు పనికిరాని తెలివితేటలు. బట్ చదువుకోవడం వలన మన ఒక అడ్మైరబుల్ నాలెడ్జ్, మన నాలెడ్జ్ని అందరూ కూడా చాలా మెచ్చుకుంటారండి. అలాగే టీ ఫర్ థింకింగ్ ఆఫ్ పాజిటివిటీ. చదువుకోవడం వలన పాజిటివ్ వేలో థింక్ చేయగలుగుతారు. అలాగే I for income, where we can get income by studying. You can get a job, so you can place on any job. దాని ద్వారా మీరు ఇన్కమ్ అనేది యూత్ అనే వాళ్ళు, నాట్ ఓన్లీ యూత్, ఎవ్రీ పర్సన్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ద్వారా ఇన్కమ్ కూడా మనం జనరేట్ చేసుకోగలుగుతాం. అండ్ ఆల్సో ఫర్ ఆపర్చునిటీ. సో చదువుకోవడం వలన ఆపర్చునిటీ కూడా మనము ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ద్వారా మనం పొందుకోగలుగుతాం. అండ్ ఫైనల్లీ మన నేషన్ని మనము చూస్తే ఫ్రీడమ్ ఫైటర్స్ చాలా మంది మనకి స్వాతంత్రం తీసుకొచ్చి పెట్టడానికి చాలా ఫైట్ చేసి పోరాడి మొత్తానికి మన నేషన్ మనకంటే ఈరోజు మనకు ఒక సెల్ఫ్, అంటే ప్రతి నిర్ణయం కూడా మన సొంతంగా తీసుకోగలిగే విధంగా, వేరే వాళ్ళ చేతుల్లో బానిసత్వం కింద లేకుండా మనకి ఈరోజు మన నేషన్ని మనం పొందుకోగలుగుతాం. సో ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అనేది ఇలాంటి రోల్ ప్లే చేస్తుంది. సో అకార్డింగ్ టు నెల్సన్ మండేలా, ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఈజ్ ద మోస్ట్ పవర్ఫుల్ వెపన్ through which you can use to change the world. సో ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ద్వారా సాధించలేనంటూ ఏమీ లేదు. అండ్ యూత్ అనే వాళ్ళు ఖచ్చితంగా ముందుకు రావాలి. ఖచ్చితంగా మన స్టిల్ అవర్ కంట్రీ ఈజ్ డెవలపింగ్ కంట్రీ వెన్ కంపేర్ టు ద అదర్ డెవలప్డ్ కంట్రీస్. మిగతా డెవలప్ అయిన కంట్రీస్తో పోల్చుకుంటే మన కంట్రీ ఇప్పటికి కూడా డెవలపింగ్. ఎందుకంటే ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్ ఈజ్ నీడెడ్. ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్ అనేది అందరిలో రాలేదు, రావాలి. ఆ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్ ఎక్కడి నుంచి రావాలంటే మన నుంచే, మన యూత్ నుంచే రావాలండి. సో ఏమంటారంటే ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్ అనేది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. అందుకే డెవలప్డ్ కంట్రీగా మారాలి అంటే ముందు ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్ ఈజ్ రిక్వైర్డ్ ఫర్ ఈచ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీ ఇండివిజువల్. సో ఆ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్ ప్రతి ఒక్కరిలో రావాలని నేను కోరుకుంటున్నాను. నా సజెషన్ ఏంటంటే మన గవర్నమెంట్ ఆల్సో షుడ్ టేక్ ఇనిషియేటివ్స్ బై ప్రొవైడింగ్ వేరియస్ స్కిల్స్. వాళ్ళు ఒక జాబ్ చేయడానికి కావాల్సినటువంటి స్కిల్స్ చదువుకునే టైంలోనే గవర్నమెంట్ కండక్ట్ చేసి వాళ్ళకి ఆ స్కిల్స్ ఇచ్చి ఇక్కడే జాబ్ ఆపర్చునిటీస్ వాళ్ళకి ఇస్తే చూస్తే చాలా మంది పీపుల్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్ కంట్రీస్కి వెళ్ళి అక్కడ వర్క్ చేస్తున్నారు. సో వాళ్ళకి అది ప్లస్ అవుతుంది. మన వాళ్ళు వెళ్ళి మన స్కిల్స్ వెళ్ళి అక్కడ పెడుతున్నారు. సో ఇక్కడే గవర్నమెంట్ ఇలాంటి తీసుకొని యూత్ని కనుక మంచి ఎంకరేజ్ చేస్తే ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ద్వారా ఖచ్చితంగా 2047 డెవలప్డ్ ఇండియాగా చేయగలుగుతుంది. సో థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ గివింగ్ మీ
Thank you, Swati Madam, to highlight the importance of education and highlight the transformation of human resources from present to future. Now it is a time to felicitate the resource person, Veeraswamy garu. Sir, we request you to accept a token of gratitude of the small felicitations.
టీ బ్రేక్ అమ్మా.